Hi, it's Mike Delsignore, and I want to talk about what happens if you're charged with OUI and you were arrested by the Westwood Police Department. Well, I'm here in Westwood. I live in this great town myself, and I know the cases from Westwood. I've had cases with that police department and many cases in Dedham District Court. Westwood generally has a booking video. It'll show how you appear, and that's good because it's helpful. It gives some objective evidence of whether you're under the influence, how you move around, how you speak. Something objective is always key because it can help us rebut the evidence of the government that, your speech was slurred or your eyes were bloodshot and glassy. It's also helpful because we can get any video evidence potentially to show that the 15-minute observation wasn't complied with if you took a breath test. So there are different things every police department has. This department generally does have video. Not always, but in most cases, they'll have some kind of video evidence of the booking to show what happened, whether procedures were followed in terms of whether you were read Miranda, whether the breath test was done properly. So what do you want to do when you get arrested? What are the three things you should know? You should, one, know the license loss. If it's your first offense, know that it's only a 30-day suspension if you took a breath test and you failed. After 30 days, you get your full license back, so you have time to have your lawyer fight the case while you're still driving. Breath test evidence, keep in mind, this is an estimate of your blood alcohol. It's not a blood test. So they're not always accurate. There's a partition ratio. There's assumptions about you that the machine makes that don't apply if you had a blood test. They don't need a partition ratio. So there's mathematical calculations in the averages, so to speak, that make these things inaccurate. There's mouth alcohol, regurgitation, asthma, all these things can impact the reliability of the result. So don't make the big mistake I see people make is they assume that a case can't be won if there's a breath test in the case. Number two, keep in mind that juries understand that people are nervous on the side of the road with police departments, police officers, interrogating and making them do a 9-step walk and turn, 1-leg stand test. These tests are difficult for most people to do even if they've had no alcohol at all. So don't assume because you read in the report that you failed these field sobriety tests that the case can't be won. Many times it can be won. Like I said, the officers, their training that they're looking for, in terms of what they're looking for a lot of different things. And many times the report is not going to mention any of those. And when I get the officer on the stand, I'll be able to show that, hey, you said the person stepped off the line. You said they were unsteady on their feet. But your training taught you about 8 other things you should look for, and they did those things right. They walked out the correct number of steps. They counted their steps. They didn't stop while walking. They maintained balance in the instruction stand. So there's things in your police report. When you read the police report, you're going to think it's bad. Most people do. But there's things in your report that aren't said that would help you. So make sure you have someone experienced in handling OUI cases to go through the report and say, hey, you got out of the car, you didn't use it for balance. You gave the license and registration properly. These are things that police are taught to look for in their training. They didn't say you did those things wrong in your report. So what will happen is when that officer's on the stand, he's going to acknowledge you did those things right. He'll have to acknowledge, or she'll have to acknowledge, that that's inconsistent with somebody under the influence of alcohol, according to their training. If you're polite, cooperative, and respectful, it goes a long way. Juries in Dedham tend to be very sympathetic. If you may have gone out for dinner, had a couple of drinks, you might be tired after work. If you can present a compelling story to the jury, let the jury like you, know about your kids, your family, what you do for work. Juries can tend to look at things more in your favor when there's an emotional connection. It's just a natural thing that we learn as trial lawyers, that really these cases, they're decided on the facts and the law and the evidence. Did they fail, pass the field test? But there's also a key emotional component to this. So what we want to do is we want to give them evidence to support their gut feeling. And a lot of people are great people charged with OUI offenses. They've never been arrested before. They've never been in trouble. The jury's going to kind of sense that in the courtroom. And when you can point out all the flaws in these field sobriety tests, and I've been to all the trainings that the police have been to, I know what they're supposed to look for. For example, 1-leg stand. A lot of reports will say person kept their leg up, put it down, and there's really no mention of how long their leg was up. So when that officer's on the stand, most of the time, the officer will say, well, he kept it up for 30, otherwise I would have said so. That's an awful long time for somebody who might be or is thought to be under the influence of alcohol. Anything over, say, 10 seconds, I would say that shows you're not under the influence of alcohol. Shows good balance, coordination when you consider the side of the road. These tests are difficult to perform. Cars are going by, you're nervous. So if you're charged with OUI in Westwood, feel free to contact me. My name's Mike Delsignore, local lawyer. Have an office in Dedham, Stoughton, live in this community. Be happy to help you. Call, text anytime, 781-686-5924. And you can always call evenings, weekends, holidays. I'm available to help. I understand when people are arrested, they want answers now, and I'm here to provide those.